Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's the house!
5 brain cells, 4 aren't working. There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Oh! What's going on, freaks? Hello, Joe. Shelby Woo Woo, Missy 6, Irene Cypher. Hopefully you guys saw the video I made today, a 360-degree video. It's, yeah, you know, it's typical for a 360-degree video. I don't know if YouTube promotes 360-degree videos. You think they would, though. They're pretty cool. I mean, if anybody, I think people who actually give a shit about the case would be watching it so they could look at all the places. But people just like to hear about the sensationalistic, oh, hey, did he do, you know, did Koberger, did he carve the leg? You know, it's just over and over and over again. If you really want to know stuff, the 360-degree videos that I put out actually show you exactly the locations and everything, so you have a good picture in your head of where, Koberger went, etc. The one I put out today was, drove around in all the back streets right where it was driving the whole night. Then, even drove by the Ridge Road camera the right way. Then I showed you guys where that little spot is. You can see the police station. And then we ended up down in to the Costco, the Kate's Cup of Joe, and Albertsons. You would just think more people would be interested in that. Unfortunately, they weren't. That video only has 2,000 views. I mean, doesn't that seem like it would be accidental to get 10? When you have 160,000 subs. See, that's what's really odd about what's happening to me in my, YouTube and me. It's like you have 160,000 subscribers. Wouldn't 16,000 accidentally get a notification or something? It's weird. All right, you were one of the 2,000, Shelby. All right. I thought it was Wendy Woo Woo. No, it's Wendy Woobles, and you're Shelby Woo Woo. Wendy Woobles, I don't know where she is. I haven't seen her in a million years, but it was Wendy Woobles and Shelby Woo Woo. All right, anyways, I'm just going to do more of the Virginia Beach serial killer possible victims. We did let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Today we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'd be 11 people total. These are all unsolved, or one set was solved. And I think the one with James Moore, that one's probably solved too. That was I think that was Bancroft, Brenda Bancroft. They just don't have the, conviction or whatever. But he's basically the guy took his life after he was interviewed by police. That's a pretty good indication that he had something to do with it. So, any breaking news out there in the Kohberger case? Man, I got to start making clickbait titles. I don't, I think it's like people don't have any shame when they put out clickbait titles, and people stay and watch anyways. So, I think it's like, okay, I'll just start doing clickbait titles. Kohberger seen on an alien spacecraft. Oh my God, 17 million views. And I'll be doing these, going through the PDF files like we did the last time. So if you're out there watching and you want to help the channel like Paul Ayers did right there, I would appreciate it. It kind of keeps the, at least a little bit of energy going, reading through all these different PDF files. Yeah, I emptied the dishwasher and I was wondering if it was, sometimes you're not really sure if it's clean or not, but thank God it was clean. I mean, it looked like it was, but, when you have a wife or a spouse or whatever that cleans the dishes before they put them in the dishwasher, and then it's filled, and maybe they're waiting to put 6 more spoons in there, you're not really sure if it's clean or not. So I emptied it, and it turns out it was clean. Ah, thank God. Thank God. Now, there's so many of them. Well, it's not right now. Italy loves VA. It's these are all from, so far, from 1973 to 1990. No, it wasn't Brenda Bancroft. It was Barbara Jean Monaco had the individual name James Moore. All right. That was that guy that had a boat, remember? And he was at the bar and he wanted to go out on a date with, I think, Barbara Jean. And then, I think that's the case. Let me make sure. Yeah. Right here. Yeah, Connecticut girl disappears on visit to VA Beach. It was a birthday trip. Yeah, she went with her sister. And then there was a guy on the yacht who met them at a bar, and apparently he turns out that he was a suspect, and when he was questioned, he took his own life. Strangely. Hey, thanks, 2 curious cats. Hey, appreciate it. The kind words there. Happy to support the great work that you do. Well, thank you. I think what I figured out was, there's other channels that are sort of newer that have like 7,000 or 8,000 people watching. I don't know if but they're all media people, so they came from media. And I don't know if they get extra connections or what they do, or, does anybody know about that? Oh, yeah, Brooks Houck was found guilty. That's just sort of the whole wind's out of the sail of that trial, since it's not even, it's not, you can't watch it. It's just sort of, yeah. But, yeah, Brooks Houck he got life in prison. And hopefully his brother and maybe even the grandmother will be... I wouldn't even... Who cares about the grandmother? Just Nick Houck. He needs to be next. Thanks, Lisa Valenzuela. Also, they're saying that the Epstein files, there was no list. And it was just kind of weird today when they brought it up, because Trump was like, why do you guys want to talk about this, man? Why do you want to talk about this? I mean, Jesus, we got so many more important things. I understand that thought, but it made him look like, wait, why are you trying to change the subject? And then you have, it's just crazy. All the sort of hard right-wing conspiracy nutters are, turning their backs now on, the president and everything, because they're not feeding their conspiracy fuel, And I think there is something to Epstein. Now everybody's claiming he was a Israeli agent who was would take pictures of people, of them in these resorts and everything, with the girls and everything, to use as blackmail. Okay, let's see. Yeah, cool, Shelby Boo Boo. So here we go. Now we're starting off with, we ended up with 1979, September 6th, Alice Askew. Now we're going to 1979, 3 months later, Brenda Bancroft. So let's see let's just look at and see what Askew was again really quick. Just like the first one. The body of a young woman found late Thursday near Shore Drive was identified Friday as that of Alice Margaret Askew. Askew was last seen alive Monday hitchhiking west. Oh, that's right. That's the one with the boyfriend who didn't get to give her a kiss goodbye, and then she ends up being killed. Right, so we got that one. And then let's see if, this next one's just 3 months later. And this is Brenda Bancroft. The body of a 20-year-old woman who had been missing since Christmas Eve, found by police Friday night on the grounds of the apartment building where she had lived. Police suspect that Brenda Joy Bancroft, last seen attending a Christmas party Monday night, was slain. Miss Bancroft's body was found in the front seat of her car, which was parked in a lot at the Watergate Apartments on Pool Pine Song Lane. Let's see where that is. Pool Pine Song Lane. Yeah, Jesus. Okay, I guess I already had her in there. That's right, I already had a pin for... Well, I didn't, so where is that pin? Hold on. Yeah, I guess it was in there. So this is the apartments that she was in. Somewhere in this pretty big apartment. And I don't know if it looked exactly like that. I mean, I bet it did. Like, you go back to 2004, looks the same. 1994 looks the same. So I would imagine in, 1980, it might look the same too. 1979. Alright, let's see. Miss Bancroft's body was found in the front seat of her car. A state medical examiner will determine how Miss Bancroft died and whether she had been sexually assaulted. A bank secretary by day and a pizza delivery person at night, Miss Bancroft last was seen attending a party at Norfolk nightclub with her fellow employees of Domino Pizza restaurant. She was expected at her parents' home at 372 Linbury Street. Let's see what that is. 372, probably already have that. Linbury Street. They said Linbury Street. I guess there's a bigger portion of the city here. Right there. Parents' home. She had plans to spend Christmas with her family and her boyfriend, who arrived at Norfolk International Airport on vacation from Michigan. Her parents reported her missing after she failed to show up for Christmas celebrations or to pick up her boyfriend at the airport. Wow, so that's just so crazy, man. These guys, how they... Yeah, she just hadn't even picked up her boyfriend who was coming into town at the airport. Somehow in between that time, somebody was able to get her and kill her. She visited an uncle Christmas Eve before attending a party at Admiral Nick's Yacht Club. All right, at 8180 Shore Drive. I bet that's still there. Oh, way over there. That can't be. $8180 Shore Drive. This is in Virginia Beach. I guess that's it. So there's the bar. And this is Admiral Nick's Yacht. Oh, that's interesting. You know, I mean, here we are. She's at a yacht club. You know, a bar called Admiral Nick's Yacht Club. And remember the guy? He was a yacht. He owned a yacht. Remember that? What's his face? Oh man, this is getting pretty crazy now. James Moore over here. Remember, he was a yacht. He owned a yacht, and he tried to get the one girl to go out on the yacht. And then later in the evening, she gets abducted. And now you're over at Admiral Nick's Yacht Club. I mean, I guess there's probably various yacht places, but just kind of an interesting little twist there, right? Let's see. Police say no one saw Miss Bancroft leave the party. One employee reportedly has said he believes he saw her car leave, but he did not see who was in it. Police said they do not know how long Miss Bancroft had been dead. There are reports that certain items of clothing were missing from the body. Miss Bancroft graduated from Princess Anne School in 1977. She lived at Watergate Apartments with a girlfriend. She worked as a secretary in the personnel office at First Virginia Bank. Last fall, she took a job at Domino's Pizza to earn Christmas money and to help pay rent. All right. Let's see. After spending 3 days in a fruitless search, police are wondering why the body of Brenda Joy Bancroft was found in an obvious place Friday night. Why she was found in some place that was easy to find in her car. Miss Bancroft's body was discovered in the front seat of her orange Datsun. According to neighbors, the car turned up on Friday, parked on a street several hundred yards from her home at 1151. I think we already have that, but let's see. 1151 Pine Song Lane. I think that's already that one apartment. Yeah, right there. So somewhere in this. Yeah, and that's the Watergate apartment complex. Police would not say Saturday whether they had searched the Watergate premises for the young woman before Friday night. Miss Bancroft, 20, was reported missing Christmas Day after she failed to show up at her parents' Virginia Beach home for a celebration or a Norfolk International Airport where her boyfriend was arriving from Michigan for a vacation. That's a good question, said Detective E.E. Burton, when asked why the police hadn't spotted Miss Bancroft's car earlier. All I can tell you is that we're looking into it. And we don't have 430 people watching. It's another Bart Simpson. I mean, we don't even. I don't even know if we have 100. Miss Bancroft was last seen at a party in Norfolk on Christmas Eve. Police are waiting for the results of an autopsy to determine how and when she died. Miss Bancroft's neighbors were also surprised by the appearance of the car. They said it was not parked where police found it on Spring Lake Crescent. But where's that? Spring Lake Crescent. Right here. Interesting. So that means her car was somewhere parked right in one of these. And what was it? An orange... What the hell was it? Datsun? Is that what they said? There it is. Orange Datsun. Orange Datsun found, but wasn't there prior. Like somebody moved it there. Yeah, so well, whatever it is, the person brought her back to her apartment complex in her own Datsun. Like she was somewhere else and abducted. It's a very recognizable car, and I did not see it all week, said Nancy White, who lives across the street from where the Datsun was found. Those parking spots have been empty all week. Another neighbor, who asked that her name not be used, said, I was watching for the car when I learned Brenda was missing. She said, I can tell you that it wasn't here. Miss Bancroft's sister, Barbara Jo Voles, told a similar story Friday afternoon. She said her father searched the streets around Miss Bancroft's apartment Christmas Day, but did not see the car. Neighbors said lights on the walls outside each apartment were out Friday night when the car was found. They said Miss Bancroft's body was found pushed low in the seat by the dashboard. Police will not elaborate on the body's condition other than that it was not visibly wounded. Let me save up here. Alright. And then we move to, this is like the next day in the paper. A funeral for Miss Brenda Joy Bancroft, 20, of 1151 Pine Song Place, apartment 102. I wonder if it, wow, they actually have the apartments listed in there. I think. Yeah, I mean at 505. I was just gonna try to see if I could see it, but some of these had numbers, 518, 5, and then over here doesn't have numbers on them. These do. Maybe they changed the numbers, and maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's no number that's even like around 100. Wait, what was it again? 102? These are 115. Okay, 1151. Let me try it again. 1151 Pine Song Lane apartment 102. That just goes to there, the same place. But hey guys, I know this isn't the big case out there, but if you're watching, if you have the ability to, if you could help support the channel, I would appreciate it. That allows us to cover even these kind of cases. We currently have no channel memberships gifted, and we are at 1/12 of a goal. All right. Let's see, a funeral for Miss Brenda Joy Bancroft, 20 of 1151 Pine Song Place, apartment 102, will be held Wednesday at 2:30 in Rosewood Memorial Park by the Reverend Samuel D. Austin. Miss Bancroft's body was found in her automobile Friday night on the grounds of the apartment building where she lives. She had been missing since last Monday night when she was last seen at a Christmas party. A graduate of Princess Anne High School, she was assistant director of personnel at First Virginia Bank, Norfolk. I wonder if it was some guy, or I don't know. It's interesting that it was at the yacht thing, though. It could have been like a guy that was interested in her, but then, you know, like her boyfriend's coming back, and, you know, he liked her, so that's why he had a little bit of remorse or whatever, bringing her back in the car. I don't know. Survivors include her parents, William Walker, etc. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. And then 1980, well, just a day later, January 1st, an autopsy was performed at Richmond Crime Lab, but other details of the death including whether it was the result of foul play, were not released by police. Her body was discovered near her apartment in the Watergate apartment complex in the 1100 block of Pine Song Lane. Miss Bancroft, a bank secretary by day and a pizza waitress by night, was last seen at a Christmas Eve party in Norfolk. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. William Bancroft of the 300 block of Linbury Street, reported her missing on Christmas Day. Now, it doesn't have to be, because the, it's at the yacht club. And that guy, remember how that one girl, he wanted to go out on a date, and she was like, leave me alone. And then he sort of abducted her. I mean, maybe he did something similar with this person. I mean, it's a yacht club party. It's pretty weird coincidence there. And it was just 3 months before, or maybe not 3 months. Let's see, what was it? It was about a year and 4 months prior. Neighbors and family members say the car that contained her body was not in the parking lot during the 3-day search. But these serial killer types, they treat you like they know you, with their anger, like Koberger. Okay, then there's one on 1982, August 25. It's from that one article that. So this is A right here, and then it goes over to somebody named Patsy Cowan. Brenda Joy Bancroft was last seen at a party December 24th, 1979, for employees of Domino Pizza. Many of the 300 to 400 people there saw the 20-year-old secretary and restaurant employee, one person, at the party, but no one saw for sure whom she left with. Unfortunately, the doorman, who could have told me who she left with, got himself shot in an argument. Jesus. And then I kind of cut off that part. Brenda was reported missing to police when she failed to show at her parents' home on Christmas Day. 3 days later, on December 28, 1979, her body was found on the passenger side of the orange Datsun. So whoever, they might have had her slide over in her seat, and I bet she was strangled. When found, the car was parked only a few hundred yards away from Brenda's Watergate apartment, but no one, including police and her parents, had seen it there during the 3-day search. Because of the position of the young woman's body when she was found, police say Brenda Bancroft may have asphyxiated herself. Oh, come on. She was discovered on her back with her head and shoulders on the car floor. Yeah, she didn't asphyxiate herself. That's why it's... And then everything was just like it would have been, said Burton. Nothing was missing. Her pocketbook was there. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary except for her position in the car. But police have never ruled the death accidental for 3 reasons. Her body was in a particular position when she was found. Her clothes were in a state of disarray, and no one is certain where her car, yeah, exactly. I mean, if her car returned, I mean, she didn't drive it after being asphyxiated, and she's in the passenger seat. When her car returned, nobody knows when her car returned to the apartment. I had one suspect who was walking from the party with her, said Burton. I could put him within 10 feet of the car, but Burton never had the evidence to prove the man was ever inside the car. Man, I'd like to know who that person was. This is her funeral. This is her gravestone there. 1151 Pine Song Place, apartment 102 will be held Wednesday. Miss Bancroft's body was found in her automobile Friday night on the grounds of the apartment building where she lived. She had been missing since last Monday. A graduate of Princess Anne High School, she was assistant director of personnel at First Virginia Bank. Yeah, I mean, they have that, and the final thing, some of these don't have a ton of information on them. But there's her, and these are different pictures of her. On Monday evening, December 24th, 1979, Christmas Eve, Brenda Bancroft was last seen by her family in the 4100 block of Thalia Drive. Well, she also went to a party, so it was later than that. She left her parents' home driving her 1978 orange Datsun B210 sedan and was due home later the same evening. She attended a Christmas party at Admiral Nick's restaurant located in the 8100 block of Shore Drive in Norfolk. A missing person report was filed by family members on Friday, December 28, 1979. Miss Bancroft's deceased body was found in the 500 block of Spring Lake Crescent, which is a short distance from her home. The cause of death was determined to be suffocation. As a result, Brenda's death was ruled a homicide. When Brenda did not wear her contacts, she wore prescription glasses. There you go. Well, that was Brenda Bancroft. But, you have a similarity there with the where was that guy? I thought it was right there. Yeah, James Moore, who was he said he had a yacht, and he was in a bar, and he wanted to get a girl to go out on the yacht with him. And she didn't want to go, and then eventually he and some other people went and kidnapped her and killed her. And so you sort of wonder if there's something similar, but maybe just by himself. I mean, it's at another yacht club. I mean, not another yacht club, but I mean, it's at a yacht club, so I mean, it sort of has that connection right there, perhaps, And I wonder if she pulled into here, she actually pulls her Datsun in here and is abducted and put onto the guy's yacht. I mean, look, just listen to this right here. So this guy who has the yacht, he pulls in there because he does have a yacht. And then he abducts her, maybe at gunpoint late at night, and forces her into his yacht. And then he does whatever he does with her for all that time. And then in the middle of the night sometime, comes back, puts her into the Datsun, and then drives her back over to her apartment, and then he sort of walks away into that good night. Wouldn't that be crazy? That's what this guy, I mean, it sort of seems like the same situation. A bar, and a yacht, etc. Just a couple days ago, just have to look on my channel. It's pretty self-explanatory there. But hey guys, if you're watching, if you guys could please help support the channel. We're having one of those big lulls tonight again, and I need the energy, the energy to keep moving forward. All right, so that was Brenda Bancroft, and then Patsy Cowan, which was the other one that was listed at the end of that little article that we read a minute ago. That's the next one here. This one is 1980 October 9th. All right. So here's a different one. She's a little different. She's older than the other ones. But another unsolved. Woman slain in second attack in 12 days. The female roommate of a 51-year-old Larkspur woman who was stabbed to death Thursday night after possibly being... did we read this one? Oh, no, I think I was reading. Stabbed to death Thursday night after possibly being sexually assaulted for a second time in 12 days. I mean, say that's weird. In second attack in 12 days. Woman slain in second attack. So when you read that, you think, okay, there's two different women that were attacked in 12 days. They're actually talking about her. She was attacked twice in 12 days. The female roommate of a 51-year-old Larkspur woman who was stabbed to death Thursday night after possibly being sexually assaulted for the second time in 12 days ran screaming for more than a block before she was able to telephone police. The roommate, whom police declined to identify, had returned to her home in the 4400 block of Smoky Lane Drive. I guess we could... That's somewhere right around in here. So if you go to the 4400 block and then you go to 4500. Okay, that didn't really move. So just somewhere around in here, I guess. But those addresses don't look like it. They're 1576. And that's not that street. Huh. I don't know. How about 3000? Where does that go? Smoky Road. Smoky Lane is what I'm looking for, though. Yeah, there's just a Smoky Road. So probably changed a lot since all the way back then. So somewhere around in here somewhere. It might be a totally different road too. Like it's called, Joe's Road, out of honor for him over the years. So the 49er block of Smoky Lane Drive at about 11:50 p.m. when she found Patsy Cowan's body in the bathroom in a pool of fresh blood. Mrs. Cowan, a real estate agent, had been stabbed several times in the chest and was lying partly clad on the floor, Virginia Beach police said. Indications are that Mrs. Cowan had been sexually assaulted before being fatally stabbed, police said, but confirmation will not be made until early next week when an autopsy is completed. Police said the roommate ran screaming for help and finally found someone willing to help about a block away. She was not allowed inside, however, until she had yelled through the door that she was a single woman in need of help. The victim and her roommate lived in a recently finished duplex in the Reflections section of Larkspur Lakes, an area where homes are still being built. Okay, the victim and her roommate lived in a recently finished duplex in the Reflections section. Let's see where that is. Okay, that's more over here. Reflections. I think this is it. It looks more like I'm gonna move that. I think it was just like I said. Probably the road changed somewhere over here. I'm just looking at the names of these streets in here. Now these all, I've gone over the dates, okay? Just follow along when we're doing it. It's 1980, October. All right, you guys? I don't mean to be, it's hard to stop, especially on a night like this where, I mean, we're just collapsed right out of the gate as usual. Let's see. So the victim and her roommate lived in a recently finished duplex in the reflection section of Larkspur Lakes. Let's make sure. Let's see where that is. Larkspur Lake. That's not going to work. How'd they spell that? Reflection at Larkspur Lakes, an area where homes are still being built. Larkspur Lake. So, huh. No. Larkspur Lake. Larkspur Middle School. Let's just see where that school is. Okay. So that's Larkspur Middle School. Larkspur Lake. Yeah. I don't know. I guess there's no Larkspur Lake anymore in this area. It just doesn't seem to want to pop up. Let's see. Okay, so the victim and her roommate lived in a recently finished duplex in the reflection section of Larkspur Lakes, an area where homes are, maybe that was just the name of the area and it's not called that anymore, are still being built and where many residents have taken occupancy only recently. Several neighbors said Friday that they didn't hear anyone screaming Thursday night and that they learned of the incident only when police and rescue vehicles arrived. Others said they had added locks to their homes and taken other forms of protection after they had learned of the sexual assault that, according to police, Mrs. Cowan reported September 27th. Usually, you hear about that happening somewhere else and you don't pay much attention, said a neighbor, but I'm taking this as a warning. That's why I put my locks on the doors. Police said Miss Cowan had been shopping for a security system for the house. As a result of the September 27 sexual assault, she had been unable to keep an appointment with a representative of Honeywell Protection Services Thursday morning, and according to the sales representative, had said that she couldn't really afford the $900 cost of such a system anyways. It's weird how that stuff has dropped down dramatically in price, you know? But hey guys, I'll try it again. If you're out there watching the show, if you guys could please help support the channel. We're doing the non-popular cases tonight, so if you guys feel like you can help support it on a night like this, I would appreciate it. I've asked a few times now with 0 results. So we have 0 channel memberships. We're still at 1/12 of the nightly goal. And if you guys like to have these other types of cases covered, I need the support covering these cases as well, or I just can't do them. I mean, that's what I've learned, that everybody's relegated to just doing all the popular cases now. And there's a reason for it. Police said Mrs. Cowan had been shopping for a security system and she couldn't afford the $900. A police report of the September 27 sexual assault showed that Mrs. Cowan was attacked about 2:45 a.m. by a man who entered her house through a kitchen window. So this is a different event. The report said that the attacker went to Mrs. Cowan's bedroom, and, I mean, this is obviously the same person. I mean, there'd be almost no chance that some other random person 12 days later went into her house. I started pulling the sheets off her bed. When she tried to pull the sheets up, she saw a man standing next to the bed. This is the first attempt. He hit her several times in the face and started choking her, saying, according to the report, "If you make a sound, I will kill you." After sexually assaulting her, the man left through the front door and drove off in a dark-colored van, the report stated. No one has been arrested in that case. While police said they are studying possible links between the two incidents, the method of entry into the in the two cases differs, suggesting that a different person might have committed the crime. I mean, that's just, man, I don't know. That would be horrendously bad luck. That would almost be like Delphi, where if you're trying to say that Keegan Kline isn't connected, even though he was supposed to meet the girls there as a catfishing account, and only for them to go to the park and have Richard Allen kill them, and believing that Richard Allen and Keegan Kline don't know each other. Oh, Jesus. Getting the Troll Central tonight. And we're just absolutely struggling again. So, oh, man. I mean, 159 people. I don't know, man. It's not really self-sustaining. While police say they are studying possible links between the two incidents, the methods of entry in the two cases differs, suggesting that a different person might have committed the crimes. Although force was used to gain entry September 27th, no signs of forced entry were found Thursday night, leading some who knew Mrs. Cowan to speculate that she let her fatal attacker in because she knew the person. She was not even entering her house at night alone, said the Honeywell representative who had talked with Miss Cowan. She was always getting a neighbor to go in with her. It's horrible, said the representative who asked not to be named. I mean, yeah, how crappy is that? Like, you get attacked one night and then you can barely get into your home. You need somebody to get you in there, and then somebody else actually goes in there another time and kills you. I mean, you already were horrified. It wasn't like this shocking thing. You're probably freaked out just even being in your house. Honeywell has a 4-week backlog of orders for security systems, but because of Miss Cowan's reported sexual assault 2 weeks earlier, the company had put an extra installation crew on duty to install an alarm system at a neighbor's home. Oh, thanks Sandy Shirley and Lisa Valenzuela and Ali Cake on the Venmo there. But man, you guys, what's happening today? Yet again. I mean, just it's wild. It was ready to do the same for Mrs. Cowan, but she said she couldn't afford it and would just add some more locks for now. Earlier this year, she joined Realty Consultants of Virginia as a real estate agent. She was a very nice lady, and we're really going to miss her. Miss Cowan was born in Norfolk and had lived in the area all her life. She was a member of the Virginia Beach United Methodist Church and was active in Virginia Beach charities. She was a graduate of Norview High School. That was on November 11th. There's another one from 11. Let's see. Frightened neighbors in this. Police said the nude body of Patsy Brown, so now we know that she was nude. A 51-year-old Virginia Beach real estate agent who reported 2 weeks ago that she had been assaulted was found dead at her home early Friday. Police said the nude body of Patsy Brown Cowan, divorced mother of 3 children, was found by her roommate at 12:15 a.m. in the bathroom of her home in the Reflection subdivision of Larkspur Lakes. She had been stabbed and may have been sexually assaulted, police reported. They said there were no signs of forced entry. Friends described Miss Cowan as a personable divorcee on the go. Frightened neighbors in the sparsely populated new development of contemporary California-style homes off Princess Anne Road said her children had pleaded with her to move after the reported sexual assault. Hey, thanks, Notorious Nats. How's it going? Let's see. California-style homes had pleaded with her to move after the reported sexual assault. She told them no, it was her house, and she had put all her money into it, and she didn't want to leave it. 2 neighborhood women said they drove around to a vacant cul-de-sac in back of their home about 9 p.m. Thursday and saw bright lights at Miss Cowan's home. So this is at 9 p.m., 3 hours and 15 minutes before she was found. She apparently had not been dead long when her body was found, authorities said. The 2 women said Miss Cowan had seemed nervous and said she was scared since a man she said she didn't know broke her kitchen window and attacked her. He told her if she screamed that he would kill her. They said he reportedly raped her and ran out the front door. One of the women said she talked to Miss Cowan last week and was told of the sexual assault incident. She said the man was very violent and that she was scared. She said she wouldn't go home alone after dark unless the woman who shares the house was there or unless someone went with her. Neighbors said Miss Cowan told them the man who assaulted her had tried to strangle her and that she had bruises and scratches on her body, a black eye, and a swollen lip. Miss Cowan reportedly bought the home 2 months ago and after the alleged assault had floodlights installed on the rear of the house and sought estimates on the cost of burglar alarms. I'm sure she wouldn't have opened her door to a strange man, one of the women said. The neighbors said they have been so frightened since Miss Cowan reported she was assaulted that they too have made plans to install burglar alarm systems and have stayed with each other when their husbands have been out of town. Miss Cowan had worked at Realty Consultants here since March. From 1975 to 77, she was a receptionist and secretary for Beacon Printed as part of the Ledger Star and the Virginian Pilot. Besides the 3 children, she had a granddaughter. And here's another one. Hey, thanks, Jessica Schubach. Homicide detectives spent between 2 and 3 hours Saturday in the Larkspur Lakes home of Patsy Bray Cowan, apparently searching for the weapon used to stab her to death late Thursday, as well as other clues. Detective Sergeant R.D. Meeks of the Homicide Squad said police are still looking for the knife or similar weapon used to stab Mrs. Cowan numerous times in the chest. He would not. So now she was stabbed multiple times. So now we know that was one of the weapons, and that was been in some of the earlier cases. And even the guy that was arrested for the first case that we did, and what was his name again? It was oh, that's right, he's out here. He was Ernest Brodnax. Yeah. So he was 1973, and he lived in the area still during this time. Right. Mrs. Cowan, 51, a real estate agent who had only recently moved into the California-style duplex in the 4400 block Smoky Lane Drive, was found by a woman roommate about 11:50 p.m. Thursday, lying partly clothed in a pool of blood in the bathroom of the house. But it says that he would not say anything else about what type of knife or bladed instrument police think may have been used. Police said she may have been assaulted before being stabbed to death. Miss Cowan's police said had also been assaulted in the house just 12 days before. Well, hopefully they kept a sample. A police report on September 27th said Mrs. Cowan was attacked at about 2:45 a.m. by a man who entered her house through a kitchen window. No evidence has been found, however, that the assailant who killed Mrs. Cowan broke into the house, police said. Because the methods of entering the house differ, police said they are not positive the first assault and the murder are connected. Police have theorized that Miss Cowan may have known her fatal attacker. Mrs. Cowan's September 27th assault and Thursday slaying, which deeply frightened the still developing neighborhood, also apparently have police stymied for suspects. This is like in a 1986, so 6 years later in the newspaper. Let's see. On October 9th, 1980, Cowan was lying in a pool of blood when her roommate found her at 10:45 p.m. The woman ran screaming down the street for a block before she found someone. For Cowan, it was a brutal end to a terrifying autumn. 12 days before she died, Cowan had been assaulted. Police said she may have been assaulted again before the killer plunged a knife into her chest. Authorities also theorized she knew the killer because there were no signs of forced entry. Cowan had grown fearful of her neighborhood after the assault, police said, and would not have knowingly left her door open. Friends said she had kept her windows and doors locked after the first attack. Pinpointing anyone who would have been with her the night she died proved difficult because that night she had attended an open house reception at the Turtle Rock subdivision. I wonder if it came from that. An estimated 1,000 people attended. Police said, and any of them could have followed her home. There you go. 1,000 people. In 1994, that's a picture. Yeah, that's her. Patsy Cowan. She looks younger in that one. Are you talking about how many accounts somebody's creating in here? All right, what are you guys talking about? I mean, are you talking about how many different cases? We are on number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But hey guys, I need your guys' support on the channel tonight. We are currently still basically at the same number as we were before. just at 10% of, not even 10%, we're still like 11 or 12% of the, not even 8% is what I meant to say, of the goal, and I'm not really sure what to make of it. If you guys like these kinds of cases, then I need support regardless of what type of case we're covering, like it used to be. I don't know what's happened to the people who, you know. Anyways, we're on, this is number, there's way more. There's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 cases in here. And I might stumble upon more. As a matter of fact, I just found a Virginia database thing that's just crazy. Yeah, a lot of trolls in here tonight. That's just what they do. That's their gig. They don't have a life outside of YouTube. But not sure what I should do here. Yeah. God. It's going to take another 2 hours to finish all this, and it's going to be the same. Unsolved murder still haunts victim's family 14 years later. Memories flood back to Jody Stowe in the first cool breeze of autumn. Memories of October night when she learned her mother, the dark-haired woman people sometimes mistook for Jacqueline Onassis, had been murdered. It was 14 years ago. This week, October 9th, 1980, Stowe remembers the squad cars and the crime scene van, the police photographers, and the detectives who walked Patsy Bray Cowan's 3 grown children to the street and told them their mother was dead. We spent the whole night waiting until the detectives could come back and piece together what happened, said Stowe, now 35, who lives in Cape Hatteras with her husband and 3 children. In the years since, she said, we haven't learned any more than we knew that night. Her brother and sister replay similar tapes in their minds. Jason Cowan, Stowe's 39-year-old brother, now president of a construction and design company in Virginia Beach, said the clearest image of that night was of the aging detective who bowed his head as he left the townhouse. I thought my mom is in there, dead, Cowan said. It looked like he was leaving a funeral. Cowan's children know their mother must have felt comfortable with the murder, comfortable enough to invite the person in for a glass of wine. So is there a glass of wine open? 2 washed wine glasses were found in the kitchen. Well, that doesn't mean like he was in there and she already washed the glass. It could have been from, maybe she drank a couple glasses and washed the glasses. It's something the children believe their meticulous mother would have done. I actually don't agree with that at all. They pray that the killer will come forward or that someone else will reveal the terrible secret. I can accept death, Stowe said. The hardest part is just not knowing who and why. Cowan, 51, was found just before midnight in the bathroom of her townhouse in the 4400 block of Smoky Lane Drive. Is that still... They keep calling it that. Smoky Lane Drive. There isn't one. There's no street called that. The crime scene was so fresh that when police arrived, water vapors rose from the blood. Wow, that's crazy. So anyways, Cowan, 51, was found just before midnight in the bathroom of her townhouse in the 4400 block of Smoky Lane Drive in Larkspur Lakes off Princess Anne Road in Virginia Beach. The crime scene was so fresh that when police arrived, water vapor rose from the blood. You mean like steam? This is 1994. look this up. Is it? I'm missing a page. I want to read the rest of that. Patsy Cowan. This looks like October 9th, or October 10th, it says. So is it this one? I'm just looking for the other page. Okay, yeah, there's that one, and it should be on the second, next page over. Okay, that was the other. Wow. There's just so many unsolved, it's crazy. Alright, so down here it says the crime scene was so fresh that when police arrived, water vapor rose from the blood as the cool night air rushed in. Cowan's body was still warm. Ropes were tied to the bed in the master bedroom where the stabbing apparently occurred. Wow, so she was like tied up or something? There was blood from the floor to the ceiling of the white kitchen wall. The telephone had been ripped from the mounting. A struggle had tipped over furniture and left a trail of blood on the light carpet from the kitchen through the living room and bedroom and into the bathroom where Cowan's body was propped against the wall. Cowan's roommate, who stumbled onto the scene, ran screaming for more than a block before she was able to get someone's attention to telephone police for help. Police arrived quickly. I'll probably go to my grave with the image of that scene, said Bruce Benson, then a vice and narcotics detective and one of the first officers there. There are just one or two of those cases that get under your skin, and you can't leave it alone. If I were still a cop, I'd still be looking. The former detective, who now works as a legal administrator, suspects that the murderer may have been in the house when the roommate arrived. Wow. Why do they think that? This was one of those that we were right on top of, and it got away from us, he said. We just didn't have that one vital piece of evidence that we needed to break it wide open. I wonder why they think he was there when she came home. Benson's partner on the Vice Squad at the time was Kenneth Stoll, now a state senator who thinks about the case several times a month, even 14 years later. The night of the murder, Stoll scouted for places where a person might have watched Patsy Cowan. About 50 feet away, he found such a spot. It offered a clear view of her bedroom. When Stoll looked down, he saw a clue, several freshly extinguished Salem cigarettes. Well, do you still have those? Because you can get his DNA easily off of that. I felt like whoever had done it was standing, looking in the window, a couple hours before I was, he said. There's a lot of these cases here seem like they can be... There's evidence that you should be able to solve these. Whoever murdered her was extremely sadistic. Whoever committed the homicide gave her a couple good stabs with the knife and then stayed around and watched her die. It will stay with me forever. Authorities found no sign of forced entry, and extensive jewelry lay untouched in plain view. There was no evidence that Cowan had been sexually assaulted. She had been extra cautious since a man had crawled in through her window 2 weeks earlier and assaulted her, threatening to kill her if she screamed. In that attack on September 27, 1980, Cowan had reported that she was awakened at about 2:45 a.m. by a man trying to pull the sheets off her bed. He hit her several times in the face and tried to choke her. After assaulting her, the man fled through the front door and drove off in a dark-colored van. Police have not ruled out a link between the incidents, but because the method of entry was different, they say there's little reason to suspect the same person was responsible. Except other than, what are the odds, you know? But hey, guys, if you're out there, if you could please help support the channel. I mean, as you can see, we're just absolutely, you know, what do you call it? Lowell City. I mean, it's just, we're still at like the same numbers we were when we first started the show. There were 3 people that supported, and then it just went. All right, so if you're out there, if you could please help support the channel. You know, I take risks whenever I cover these other types of cases because people just seem to not want to help when we're doing these other ones. I don't know what the deal is there, but I need your guys' support when I cover these cases. And you guys know what we do at the end of the month, right? I think it's hard for any family of a murder victim to come to closure with the death of a loved one when the case remains unsolved, said Mike Carey, a spokesman for the Virginia Beach Police Department. It's a case we've always been anxious to solve. Unfortunately, we've exhausted all our leads. For Stowe, the reminders are everywhere, if sometimes unexpected. When Jackie Onassis died, she had flashbacks to the times when strangers came up to her mother and asked if she was Jackie. So strong was the resemblance. The children's struggle with the loss of the mother, they say, was also a best friend. They miss her, etc. Jan Hansberry, 42, Patsy Cowan's older daughter, says she doesn't expect to ever know what happened that night in 1980, but that doesn't make life easier. I wonder why no one's been brought to justice, she said. I want to know why nobody's tested the cigarette butts. I don't think I could live on the ground floor, she said. I could never open the windows and have the cool breeze blowing in again after my mother was assaulted. I carry a lot of fears with me. Hey, thanks, Alley Cat. Jason Cowan also holds scant hope that his mother's killer will be brought to justice. I hate thinking there's somebody out there living it up, doing the normal things that people do with no conscience. He cringes to think of the terror that filled her final moments, especially since she had been attacked before. She was trying to get away from someone evidently chasing her with a knife through her house. It's a horror movie. Cowan quickly pushes those thoughts from his mind, saying they're too painful. He refuses to be consumed. Stowe says she sometimes thinks about the kind of person who could keep a murder a secret. I can't imagine walking around my whole life carrying such a burden, but I know there are people who don't have a conscience. I feel like I've got to keep reaching out, searching for answers. Let's see. And we've got... On Thursday, October 9th, 1980, Patsy Cowan had attended a picnic in Chesapeake, Virginia from the late afternoon hours until 7:30 p.m. A local builder invited real estate agents and builders from the Tidewater area to a large cookout where plans for a new development on the land where the picnic occurred was announced. Patsy was seen arriving and leaving alone in her 1976 dark-colored Oldsmobile. She returned home in the 4400 block of Smoky Lane Drive, a new housing development, at approximately 8:15. She was found approximately 11:45 p.m., nude and suffering from several stab wounds. There did not appear to be any forced entry into the home. A handgun kept inside the home by Miss Cowan is missing. Yeah, that's interesting. And is described as a Smith & Wesson top break lemon squeeze nickel-plated .38 caliber revolver. So pretty unusual. The person responsible for this brutal murder is suspected of taking this weapon. Patsy was a 50-year-old white female who had brown eyes and brown hair, 5'5", weighing 120 pounds. She looked younger than her age. Let's see what this is, like a longer thing here. I just want to see what this said. Maybe I'll get my reader to read it.
Memories flood back to Jody Stowe in the first cool breeze of autumn. Memories of the October night when she learned her mother, the dark-haired woman people sometimes mistook for Jacqueline Onassis, had been murdered. It was 14 years ago this week, October 9th, 1980. Stowe remembers the squad cars and the crime scene van, the police photographers, and the detective who walked Patsy Cowan's 3 grown children to the street and told them their mother was dead. They spent the whole night waiting until the detective could come back and piece together what happened, said Stowe, now 35, who lives in Cape Hatteras with her husband and 3 children. In the years since, she said, "In fact, we haven't learned any more than we knew that night." Her brother and sister replay similar tapes in their minds. Jason Cowan, Stowe's 39-year-old brother, now president of a construction and design company in Virginia Beach, said the clearest image of that night was of the aging detective who bowed his head as he left the townhouse. "Pain, I thought, hey, my mom's in there dead," Cowan said. It looked like he was leaving a funeral. Cowan's children know their mother must have felt comfortable with the murderer, comfortable enough to invite the person in for a glass of wine. 2 washed wine glasses were found in the kitchen. It's something the children believe their meticulous mother would have done. They pray that the killer will come forward, or that someone else will reveal the terrible secret. Can accept death, Stowe said. The hardest part is just not knowing who and why. Cowan, 51, was found just before midnight in the bathroom of her townhouse in the 4400 block of Smoky Lane Drive in Larkspur Lakes off Princess Anne Road in Virginia Beach. The crime scene was so fresh that when police arrived, water vapor rose from the blood as the cool night air rushed in. Cowan's body was still warm.
This sounds like the exact same article, right? Yeah. I think it's the same one. Just a different form. Well, that's it for her. I'm just kind of debating whether to keep going here tonight. I didn't ask you, my enemy. If it's too loud for you, go watch something else. All right. All right. Let's see. This one is Priscilla Wilson, and this is also in Virginia Beach. This one's 1980 December. The body of a 17-year-old girl was found Friday afternoon in a field off Oceana Boulevard in the Red Mill Farms area. Let's see where that is. Red Mill Farms. It's over here. And then Oceana. Oceana Drive. So it's probably like that same, if that's it right here, Oceana Boulevard, and it sort of says it stops right there, but sometimes back then it might have kept going around. Don't know. Priscilla Wilson, a senior at First Colonial High School and the daughter of Curtis and Mamie Wilson, was last seen Tuesday by a sister near her home in the 1100 block of Carver Avenue. So maybe we can just get the general area. 1100 Carver Avenue. And where's 1200? Okay, is that Carver right there? Oh, okay, so it's right at the edge here then. Right here. Or in between there and 12. So it could be anywhere from here to there. So right there, inside of that, because it's in the 1100 block. How do we know, my enemy? I mean, you're just like ridiculous. I think you're like trolling. Foul play is strongly suspected, said Sergeant Joe Curran, because of the isolated area in which the body was found. And by the way, she's a black girl, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised that they covered it. You know, usually back this long ago, they almost never cover. If you're a black person, you might get one mention and never another article, and it just kind of fades away. But at least they, you know, it looks like even 3 years later they were still doing it, so I give them props for that. There were signs of a struggle, he said, and the body had been burned slightly in a brush fire. He said the fire probably occurred about the same time as the death, but apparently was not the cause of death because the burns were not severe. I don't know if the fire was set to cover up evidence or not, but I do feel that the fire is connected to her death, Curran said. Curran said firefighters apparently have received no calls from the area this week. It appears from what we can determine that the fire put itself out, he said. Miss Wilson's body was found at about 2:30 p.m. by two hunters in a field in an undeveloped portion of the Red Mill Farms housing development in the 2000 block of Oceana Boulevard. See, Miss Wilson's body was found about 2:30 p.m. by two hunters in a field in an undeveloped portion of the Red Mill Farms housing development. Is that still there? Yeah, kind of going down to that area that we were thinking. Red Mills Farm. So somewhere down in here. Let's see what it looked like back in 1994. It's all done. Now this is 1990. This whole thing here has been built since 1990. Red Mill Village. And what'd they say? They also gave the address, so it was the 2000 block of Oceana Boulevard. Yeah, no. That doesn't make any sense. Red Mill Farms housing development in the 2000 block of Oceana Boulevard. The site is about a quarter mile from the nearest occupied house but 100 yards from a house that neighbors said had been abandoned about a year and a half ago. The area is frequented by four-wheel drive enthusiasts who drive over the mounds of dirt piled up from the development. Scattered empty beer bottles indicated that it also attracted drinkers. Cowan said Miss Wilson's body was only partly clothed and had several bruises, but he said there was no evidence as yet that she had been sexually assaulted. The cause and time of death had not been fixed Friday night, pending a medical examiner report. The case is being investigated by homicide detectives J.B. Walls and Robert Manzione and youth squad detective Norman Ferguson. Police say a slaying victim was seen getting in the car. A teenager whose body was found Friday in a field had been getting into a car driven by someone she knew on the afternoon she disappeared, police said Saturday. Priscilla A. Wilson, 17, a senior at First Colonial High School, apparently was only yards from her home in the SeaTac area when she was last seen Wednesday afternoon. A man believed to be the driver of the car that picked her up has been questioned along with at least one other person, said Sergeant Joe Cowan. However, no one has been charged, he said. A medical examiner report had not been completed by Saturday afternoon, but Cowan said preliminary indications are that Miss Wilson was strangled and probably died the day she disappeared. Her body was found Friday about 2:30 p.m. by hunters in a field in the Red Mill Farms area off of the 200 block of Oceana Boulevard. Hey, by the way, you guys, we're at the point where we're going to set a record tonight for the worst night we've had in years. All right, so I'm trying to figure out, like, I thought, you know what, the freaks seem to like, hey, we can cover these other cases, and you know, that was just luck that one night. So I need your guys' support on the channel tonight so we avoid having the worst night we've ever had. All right. Let's see. A teenager and then it says, a man believed to be the driver of the car. A medical examiner report had not been completed by Saturday afternoon, but Cowan said preliminary indications are that Miss Wilson was strangled and probably died the day she disappeared. Her body was found Friday about 2:30 p.m. by hunters in a field in the Red Mill Farms area of the 2000 block of Oceana Boulevard. She had been burned slightly, and some of her clothes had been consumed by a fire in the area that police believe was set deliberately, possibly in an effort to cover up evidence. Yeah, it always appears that it freezes up because nobody's chatting. Police are looking for help from anyone who may have seen Miss Wilson after she was dropped off at 2:45 p.m. Wednesday by a relative at the foot of a short dirt lane that leads to her home. Off of the 1100 block of Carver Avenue. Okay, where's that? Did we already do that one? Yeah, it is interesting that we're at the worst night we've ever had. You're right. 1100 Carver Avenue. Yeah, we already did that. So she lived over here somewhere. That's where she was dropped off. Miss Wilson was a friendly girl who hoped to take courses at Tidewater Community College next year to prepare for work as a secretary. She was real good at typing, said her sister, Valerie, 19, a TCC student. After this year, they were going to give her a job. Priscilla had a typing job under the high school work-study program. Me and her did everything together, said Valerie. My sister wouldn't harm nobody. I don't know why they did this to her. Priscilla's father, Curtis Wilson, said he is confident that police will find the person who killed his daughter. Well, his confidence was betrayed him. Originally, when he reported her missing in the early hours of Thursday morning, police told him she must have run away and would be back soon, he said. I told them from the beginning she didn't run away, Wilson said. She had no reason to run away. She was happy. Foul play suspected in death of girl. The bruised and slightly burned body of a 17-year-old girl has been found in a field. I don't know what this one's, we've already talked about that. Been found in a field off Oceana Boulevard in Red Mill Farms area. Priscilla A. Wilson, a senior at First Colonial High School, was last seen Thursday by her sister. Her father, Curtis Wilson, reported her missing Wednesday. Police suspect foul play. 2 hunters found the partially clothed body Friday afternoon, about a quarter of a mile from the nearest occupied residence. The area is frequently used by operators of four-wheel drive vehicles. The burns on her body were not severe enough to cause death, detectives said, but they believe the fire started about the same time. And then look, they got a year later, they got psychics already in there. But I always like, you can read these and they give you information unrelated to the psychic. Since 17-year-old Priscilla Wilson was beaten and strangled to death a year ago, police have tried to track her killers as far away as Iceland. Wow, really? But some of the most compelling clues to the girl's slaying have come from, quote, psychics who volunteer to contact Miss Wilson's spirit. Jesus. Their efforts have steered police to one suspect, said Detective N.D. Ferguson. That man, he said, has implicated a second suspect. Ferguson said both men were acquaintances of Miss Wilson. Before the psychic statement, they also had been implicated in the interviews with other acquaintances of the slain girl. Detectives believe Miss Wilson was killed hours after she disappeared December 3rd, 1980. She was last seen getting into a car that had stopped in front of her house. Miss Wilson's body was found December 5th in a field about 6 miles away after she was beaten and strangled. Her body was burned to destroy evidence. This has been a tough one, conceded Sergeant Charles Pace, supervisor of the investigation. This is the first homicide we've had in the Juvenile Bureau that we didn't solve right away. During the first 72 hours after Miss Wilson's body was found, police said 11 detectives worked full-time on the case. The tedious process of interviewing hundreds of the teenager's friends and relatives turned up few solid leads, they said. Then in early 1981, several psychics volunteered their services. At first, detectives were skeptical when a local psychic, who asked that she not be identified, drew police an unusual symbol. Ferguson said it didn't know what to make of it. Later, when police drove into the first suspect's place of employment, they spotted a similar symbol on a sign out front. It was the company logo. Described suspect vehicle. On a visit to Virginia Beach, California, psychic Gail Ferguson described the suspect and the vehicle he drives. We had already talked to him, but We didn't give her his name, Ferguson recalled. We took her out to the scene of the crime, and she closed her eyes and just started describing his truck. The psychic also told police what she thought was the suspect's state of mind when he killed Miss Wilson. He sat back and looked at the body for about an hour after he did it. He felt relief, Miss Ferguson said. He is the type of guy who feels inadequate. Killing her made him feel better. The psychic said Miss Wilson felt disbelief when she was attacked. First she was afraid. Then when the beating started, she couldn't believe that it was happening and somebody she knew was doing it, Ferguson recalled from the psychic statement. The psychic research, I mean, a lot of that's just that logical, I mean, she got into somebody's car, she probably knew the person, right? The psychic's research included visits to Miss Wilson's home and grave and the field where her body was found. When told about the incident, a friend of the first psychic went into a trance and scrawled out the street name of the first suspect's residence. He said the psychic told police they found it easy to contact Miss Wilson. Right. Of course. Why didn't she just tell you the guy's name then? I mean, if she would, you're contacting Miss Wilson, and Miss Wilson knew the person, why doesn't she just say, yeah, it was Jim Smith? The Virginia Beach Crime Solvers program is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the person or persons responsible for the December 1980 slaying of Priscilla A. Wilson. The 17-year-old girl was last seen at 2:30 p.m. December 3rd, 1980, when her cousin dropped her off at her home in the 1100 block of Carver Avenue. 2 days later, at 2:15 p.m., several men hunting in a field behind Red Mill Farms near Oceana Boulevard discovered the nude body of Miss Wilson. She had been severely beaten before a fire was set around her body. The medical examiner report indicated that she died of strangulation. Crime Solvers asked that anyone who has information about the slaying call their number. Virginia Beach Crime Solvers also pays rewards for information leading to the solution of any crime apprehension. And then there was like this one here. It says, on this date, on Friday, December 5th, 1980, Priscilla Wilson was found murdered in the 1900 block of Oceana Boulevard in Virginia. Priscilla was last seen getting into a vehicle on December 3rd, 1980. The school bus had recently dropped her off along Carver Avenue in the Friendship Village neighborhood. She was reported to be a missing person runaway on December 4th, 1980. On Friday, December 5th, 1980, Priscilla Wilson's deceased body was found in a wooded area in the 1900 block of Oceana Boulevard, Virginia Beach. She was 17 years old. It's funny, right after the trolls, they try to scare people away, and now we haven't seen, they haven't been here for a couple days now. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to take off. I appreciate you guys showing up. I just, I'm not sure I can get through the rest of these ever, because I just can't, the channel can't survive like this. So,
Oh, man.
Let's see. I do appreciate people coming to watch, but we don't have very many people, and we're not getting the support, and I can't afford to do these shows. I have to cover just the really big, popular cases. All right. So, let's see. Thanks, Paul Ayers, Two Curious Cats, Shelby Woo Woo, Notorious Nance, Jessica Schubach, Alley Cat. And then we had Ted Bundy, Coffee, we had Lisa Valenzuela, and then we had Alley Cake on Venmo, and then Sandy Shirley. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll have to get back to Koberger or some other popular case as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and as I always say, until next time, Be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Greg is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody? Talk to you later.